The Trump campaign is in complete disarray. Democrats are in array, and Republicans are in disarray. As Donald Trump was giving this really insane speech.
That's the stuff that powers the plants. It's not wind that goes around and around. And, darling, let's watch the president's State of the Union speech tonight. I'm sorry, we won't be able to do it. The wind isn't blowing, darling. We have no electricity.
That was for his speech on the economy. But while that was happening, JD Vance had more audio that was leaked. I think this is like the third audio leak I've had on the channel. This time where he says that the whole purpose of postmenopausal females is to be grandmas and help raise children. This man is weird. He's a weird guy. He literally is the embodiment of the Handmaid's Tale. So I'm going to show you this audio. We'll show a little bit of Trump's really wild speech that happened as this audio resurfaced, and then we'll call it a day. But I'm going to walk you through this audio because it's really heady. There's one thing about JD Vance is he is not a charismatic guy. Donald Trump did not pick him because he's fun to listen to. He picked him because he believes crazy crap like this. Let's go. Real quick, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to the video, it really helps the channel. Thanks so much.
Like they spoil him. There's sort of all the classic stuff that grandparents do to grandchildren. But it makes him a much better human being to have exposure to his grandparents.
Well, I don't know.
And the evidence on this, by the way, is like super clear.
That's the whole purpose of the postmenopausal
Yes.
female in theory. Did your in-laws, and particularly your mother-in-law, show up in some huge way?
She lived with us for a year.
Right.
So,
So I didn't know the answer to that.
Right. No.
Because that's this weird unadvertised feature of marrying an Indian woman.
No, it's in some ways the most transgressive thing I've ever done against sort of the hyper neoliberal approach to work and family. My wife had this baby 7 weeks before she started the clerkship. Still not sleeping any more than an hour and a half in a given interval. And her mom just took a sabbatical. She's a biology professor in California. Just took a sabbatical for a year and came and lived with us and took care of our kid for a year.
Okay,
so it was just one of these things where it's like, this is what you do.
So a biology professor, PhD,
yes,
drops what they're doing,
yeah,
to immediately tend to the needs of a new mother with her infant.
Painfully economically inefficient. Right?
So a lot happening there. First off, you heard the podcaster saying the whole purpose of postmenopausal women is because they take care of their grandchildren. And JD Vance goes, yes.
The whole purpose of the postmenopausal female in theory. Did your in-laws...
Let me know if that's the only thing postmenopausal women are for in the comments. Also, if it's just very strange to call women postmenopausal when you're a guy.
The thing I've ever done against sort of the hyper neoliberal approach to work and family. My wife,
a biology professor, PhD,
yes,
drops what they're doing, to immediately tend to the needs of a new mother with her infant.
Painfully economically inefficient.
Right? Can I just propose?
Why didn't she just keep her job, give us part of the wages to pay somebody else to do it, right? Because that is the thing that the hyper liberalized economics wants you to do. The economic logic of always prioritizing paid wage labor over other forms of contributing to a society is to me, it's actually a consequence of a sort of fundamental liberalism that is ultimately going to unwind and collapse upon itself. I think it's the abandonment of a sort of Aristotelian virtue politics for a hyper market oriented way of thinking about what's good and what's desirable. If people are paying for it and it contributes to GDP and it makes the economic consumption numbers rise, then it's good. And if it doesn't, it's bad. I think that entire sort of, to me, that's sort of the root of our political problem.
Very simple. Oh my God. Oh, he just sounds like one of your neighbors, you know? What the hell was that? I mean, I laugh because we have Tim Walz on one end who's like coach, and he's just like his campaign message is mind your own business. JD Vance's is the abandonment of the Aristotelian virtue politics. Okay. All right. That aside, he's just so not an average person. That aside, he's also saying something really serious, which is when he agrees that, one, postmenopausal women are there just to raise kids. Gross. This is just a continuation of him believing women have one purpose and one purpose only. That is the child. And of course, if you have children and that is a big part of your life, I'm happy for you. But it is extremely disturbing how much this man is focused on women and children and families. And not even, like, I understand, like, having a family, and I understand the goodness that can come from that. It's that his preoccupation with everyone else is just weird. I mean, that is the only way to put it. It's weird. All right. So, and then while that resurfaced and went super viral, Donald Trump had a terrible speech where he was supposed to focus on the economy. I showed you one clip in the beginning where he was saying the wind. So I don't know. I don't even understand it. Here he is saying that we live in a third world nation.
Personally, we have a lot of important subjects because our country has become a third world nation. We literally are a third world nation. We're a banana republic in so many ways, and we're not going to let that happen. Because
I don't think he's ever seen a third world nation because we are not that. And is anyone else just mad? Like, I'm just so sick of this guy shitting on our country. Like, just knock it off. Like, either be a patriot. Like, I understand we all want our country to be better, right? But that's not what he's doing. He's just, like, belittling a great nation. Don't like it. Here he is making fun of Kamala Harris because she experiences happiness, something that apparently is very foreign to Donald Trump.
nearly 4 years, Kamala has crackled as the American economy has burned. What happened to her laugh? I haven't heard that laugh in about a week. That's why they keep her off the stage. That's why she's disappeared. That's the laugh of a crazy person, I will tell you, if you haven't known it. It's a crazy. She's crazy.
When your whole life is anger, fear, and grievance, laughter can sound crazy to you, but it's not. It's very normal. Here is Donald Trump saying that the reason the stock market was up was because people thought he was going to win. But, I mean, the stock market is up today, and so are the polls for Kamala. It doesn't make sense, but here it is.
Many people say that the only reason the stock market is up is because people think I am going to win. Did you ever hear that? But there was one day, a couple of weeks ago, when they weren't thinking that, and you saw what happened. This will be a 1929 style crash. You know, I have one of
the stock market has never been higher. The Dow has never been higher. The economy is booming in a lot of ways. There are a lot of people who are still very much so feeling the effects of inflation. There is greedflation happening, meaning that companies have made things cost more regardless of whether or not they needed to because inflation was going up. So they said, well, if the price of eggs is going up, why don't we make the price of, potato chips go up too? There is that aspect of it, but the economy is doing well, not because of Donald Trump's poll numbers. So this is a campaign that is flailing. It cannot get underneath the weight of its own failures. And I don't know how to get out of this. There's a lot of people on cable news giving them advice. I wish they would stop. Stop giving this campaign advice. Do you want them to win? Just let them flail and fall into oblivion. That's what I want. Let them just disappear. That's all I want. Let them lose in November, and then we can move on with our lives. But this is not a campaign running to win.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?